everyone, this is Leah Lawson and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is a great celebration because we have found out that Simon Says Stamp is able to start shipping again with some added safety precautions, and we have a new release that just went live yesterday called Sunny Days Are Ahead. Now you can get all of the details for today's blog hop in my blog hop link, which is linked below in the description. So for my card today, I am creating a rainbow themed grad card using this new stamp set called Grad Party. It is designed by the lovely Kathy Zielski, and in true Kathy fashion, it just has that great clean and graphic feel to it. So I am using Pinkfresh Studios premium dye inks, which are available at Simon Says Stamp, and they will be linked below in my description and also on my blog post. And I am doing a really simple and fun stamping technique today. So what I'm doing is I am stamping in that lightest shade of pink and then adding just a little bit of a darker shade just to give it some gradation and so it doesn't feel so flat. And then I'm going ahead and just stamping it to a block of heavyweight white cardstock. And I will continue to do this same technique through the rainbow gradient of colors. This next line of colors is the red collection, and it's one of my favorite colors in all of the 48 inks that Pinkfresh offers, and this one is called Coral Reef. Anyway, I will continue to do this stamped with a very, very subtle gradation shading added to it, keeping in mind where I did the gradation in the last one so that it's not in the same place, and it just gives some interest and appeal as you look through the entire rainbow gradient. Now I am using my Misty today because I am not very talented with a clear block, but if you are, you could easily do this with the big grad cap stamp and a clear block. So I found out when I got down to that purple layer that the mini Misty wasn't big enough, so I did have to make a switch over to my regular sized Misty. So just for a fun tip, if you plan to recreate this card, maybe just start out in your regular Misty so that you don't have to make the switch. The purple is the final color, and as you can see, I'm doing that final subtle gradation. The key to that is using that lighter shade of ink after you do the second shade of ink to really blend out that line. As you can see, I didn't do such a great job of blending out that line on the blue stamping, but I'm learning to embrace my perfections, and I just went with it. I didn't want to start the whole panel over. So the next step on this card is I wanted to add some white splatters. So I am using this Amsterdam acrylic ink in titanium white. What I love about this is it's already perfectly watered down. It's just one extra step that you don't have to do. But if you just have titanium white acrylic paint lying around, it's easy enough. You can just water that down with water and it achieves the same effect. And I am just adding some very thin splatters here and there just to give the panel a little bit of extra dimension. Now, after the fact, I ended up adding some more off camera because I felt like I didn't get enough. So while the splattered panel sets to dry, I'm going to go ahead and work on stamping the sentiment. I am using another sentiment from that same stamp set called Grad Party. Now this sentiment has very small, very thin letters. So I am using Onyx Black VersaFine, and I am lightly inking and I am lightly pushing in my Misty. And one of the great things about the Misty is it allows you to stamp multiple times, because if you press too hard, you're going to give it a weird halo effect. So you want to have a really light touch. And so I ink it up 3 times in order to get the crisp, sharp, black stamped image that I want. And that's just the great thing about the MISTI. You have that ability to do it. Off camera, I die cut the 2020 outline die 4 times, once from this glitter paper and 3 times from white cardstock. And then I'm going to stack it. I already stacked a couple, but here I'm just using a zig glue pin to stack that last layer on. So the reason that I do this is these lines in this 2020 die are really thin. So I feel like it would be really, really hard to put foam tape behind that. So by stacking, you get that dimension that you want and a little bit of rigidity as well. And then when you go to put it on your card, it gives you those nice natural shadows, it gives you some dimension, it just makes the card look really nice. So at this point, it's time to start putting the card together. As you can see, I trimmed down the sentiment into a label, and I added a panel of foam tape to the back of my stamped Grad cap background, and I am adhering that to an A2 black card base. Now, when you're using black, you can either, when you want to write on the inside, just use a white gel pen, or you can just put a block of white cardstock on the inside for writing your sentiments to whoever receives the card. So I'm going to use some liquid glue to adhere down that outline 2020. This is just some ThermoWeb mixed media glue. You can really use any type of liquid glue that dries clear. I like putting it in that Doris bottle that has the thin tip. It just feels like it gives me a little bit of more control over where the glue goes. The great thing about liquid glue is it gives you some time to make sure that that die is straight and in the place that you want it to be. But once it dries permanently, it has a really strong bond. Man, that die is not going to go anywhere. So as you can see, I arranged the 2020 so that the rest of the sentiment in that label would kind of cover an area of the card that was a little bare. And so I'd already put some foam tape on the back of it, and I'm just going to go ahead and adhere the rest of that sentiment down to the card, overlapping the 2020 just a little bit. And the reason I did that is because I am going to add a row of rainbow colored crystals down the left side of the sentiment label, just to tie in that beautiful rainbow gradient that's in the background, which is vibrant but soft at the same time. And just to give the card a little bit of extra sparkle and shimmer. So these are the crystals mixed from Pinkfresh Studio, which are available at Simon as well. And I am just adhering them down with that same mixed media glue that I used to adhere down the 2020 die. And I love that rainbow gradient in the crystals. I think that's just a fun touch. And that really is the entire card. It's a really simple card to create, and I love how it turned out. Off camera, I decided it needed a couple more just clear crystals, so I went ahead and just accented in some trios at the top and the bottom of the card to just give it a little something extra. Well, I hope that you enjoyed my video today, and thanks for watching. Be sure to check out today's blog hop with Simon Says Stamp. That is linked in my description below. Other than that, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything in the future. Other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day.